Am I wrong for telling my sister that she should have aborted my niece when she had the chance? I grew up in a single-parent household with my mother and my half-sister Casey, who is 7 years younger than me. My mother struggled with drug abuse for the majority of her life, and as a result, I have no clue who my father is. Casey's father was also heavily into drugs and only stuck around for 3 years. I basically raised Casey because when my mom wasn't at work, she was either gone for days on end, holed up in her bedroom/bathroom doing drugs with whoever her boyfriend was at the time. I am now 31 and have no desire to have children after spending much of my youth caring for Casey. Casey unfortunately followed in my mother's footsteps in that she began excessively drinking, smoking, partying, etc. She enrolled in a university that's known for being a party school, but dropped out during her first year after getting pregnant with my niece. 14 weeks into Casey's pregnancy, we learned that the baby would likely be born with intellectual and physical disabilities. I am pro-choice and discussed abortion as an option with Casey, who at the time refused and assured me that she would love her baby no matter what disability she was born with. My niece is now 4 years old and is nonverbal with pretty severe cognitive delays and motor/sensory issues. My mother has been sober for about 5 years and has since come around to help out Casey with my niece. She feels bad about our poor upbringing and as a result enables Casey to continue partying and being an irresponsible parent. Casey is hardly ever around while my mother is left alone with my niece. She's pretty much become my niece's 24/7 caretaker. Both my mom and sister have asked that I help babysit from time to time, but I politely declined because I know nothing about caring for special needs children. Recently I learned that my mother is planning to move a few states away as her boyfriend would like to be closer to his family, meaning she will no longer be able to help take care of my niece. Now Casey has asked that I become my niece's godmother and that I move back to our hometown and in with her to help out. I declined because I know that what she really means is that she would like me to become my niece's primary caretaker. She then asked for me to compromise by having me pay for a home caretaker and for assisted living for when my niece turns 18. Again, I refused. My husband and I both have well-paying jobs, so technically we could afford it, but I'm sick of everyone rewarding Casey for her poor choices. This resulted in a screaming match between her and I, where in the heat of the moment I told Casey that she should have gotten an abortion if she knew she was unwilling to step up and be a mother to a child with special needs. Now I am receiving daily texts from both her and my mother stating how terrible of a person I am and that if I truly cared about our family that I would help out. So, am I wrong here? Call CPS. That's my 2 cents. CPS.
Am I the asshole for wanting to sue my husband's sister for losing my $2,000 camera at the beach? My sister-in-law moved in with me and my husband weeks ago because of problems with her boyfriend. She isn't planning on going back till he apologizes even though she broke his Xbox device in an argument. I'm a blogger and I have a small space in our apartment, sort of like an office, where I work for hours. Sister-in-law would come and take things out of the room and not return them, so I put a lock on the door. She was going to the beach with friends and asked if she could borrow my camera, and I told her no because I needed it for the weekend. I got done with my project and left the camera at the desk. When I woke up the next day, I entered my office and didn't see my camera. I freaked out and my husband told me to calm down because his sister took it with her to the beach. Am I the asshole for wanting to sue my husband's sister for losing my $2,000 camera at the beach? I kept worrying about it and was upset at the fact that my husband gave her the key. When she got back, she said she was pissed about getting in a fight with her boyfriend after seeing him with someone at the beach today. She said she cried and cussed him out, and I asked for my camera and she said she didn't have it. She said she forgot it after the encounter and that her friend Aiden picked some of the stuff up and brought it back but said that the camera got stolen. I started yelling, calling her irresponsible and reckless and that was a $2,000 camera. She apologized and blamed it on her ex-boyfriend and the girl that he was with. I said I needed my camera for work and she needed to replace it. My husband got involved and said it wasn't her fault and that I can get a cheaper one from Amazon for now. Am I the asshole for wanting to sue my husband's sister for losing my $2,000 camera at the beach? My husband said it wasn't her fault it got stolen and suggested I buy a cheaper camera from Amazon for now till I can afford to buy a new one. I said, what? Why would I buy a replacement when it was his sister who lost it? She took it without permission and was responsible for whatever happened after. He tried to make excuses for her being an emotional mess, and I said I have no problem suing her. He asked if I was serious, and I said yes because I've worked hard to get that camera. He said he was trying to help, but I said he was just trying to help his sister avoid responsibility. Both him and his sister aren't speaking to me anymore and claiming they're giving me time to calm down. But really, they're just cold shouldering me and making me feel guilty. Am I the asshole for proposing to my girlfriend with a plastic ring as a joke? I am 35 male and my girlfriend is 30 female. We've been together for 5 years and she's made it known for the past 3 that she wants to get married. I always tell her to wait and see, it'll happen one day. Last night I was out with a few buddies and I got a little tipsy. While out, we went on arcade machines for fun and I won a stupid plastic ring. In my tipsy state, I was like, haha, it'd be a great idea if I pretend to propose to my girlfriend with this. My buddies laughed and agreed and I got home after midnight and woke my girlfriend up. Am I the asshole for proposing to my girlfriend with a plastic ring as a joke? I told her to get out of bed and she was worried and asked what's wrong. I sat her at the end of the bed, went down on one knee and presented her with the shitty ring and asked, will you marry me? And then burst out laughing. She asked me angrily if I was for real and threw a pillow at me. She went into the bathroom and I followed her and she was crying. I was still tipsy and couldn't stop laughing, which I know is bad. She said, I can't believe you think this is funny. You know how much it means to me to get married, and you take that special moment away by getting on your knee as a joke? I stupidly asked her how does she know that it's a joke, and she said it better be with that ring. I told her she's right and that it's a joke, but she's way over the top right now. I went to sleep, and today she said I made a mockery of our relationship. Am I the asshole for refusing to eat, knowing my mother-in-law will not eat if I don't, and causing her to faint? We currently live with my husband's mom, and she does a lot for us. I truly appreciate that because we got ourselves into a financial rut. Mother-in-law is a hardcore perfectionist who always has to be the best at everything to the point where it's completely toxic. She was taught growing up to never eat if someone else isn't, and as a teen that spiraled into never being the only woman eating. It was ingrained in her by her very overweight mother to never let anyone think she was a pig. Not surprisingly, mother-in-law and her sister both have serious issues with food. This is insane, obviously, but she's also an ER doctor who doesn't work normal hours, so this makes it even worse. And recently, the hours have been crazy. Am I the asshole for refusing to eat, knowing my mother-in-law will not eat if I don't, and causing her to faint? The other day, she took us to do some errands, and we don't have a car at the moment, but she said it was fine because she needed groceries. The store sold food that you could eat there, and she asked if anyone wanted any. I had just ate, so I said no, but that she should eat since she just got off work. She insisted she wasn't hungry and just thinking about us. By the end of shopping, she seemed to be shaking and asked again. My husband said that he eat something because he felt bad for her, but I wasn't hungry and said no. When we got home, she fainted. Her boyfriend is pissed at me and says I should have eaten something so she would. I said she's a grown woman and I don't feel responsible, but he said I know who she is and called me an ungrateful B-word. Am I the asshole for wearing matching outfits with my daughter and unintentionally drawing attention away from the bride? The wedding was my cousin's and is now wife's. I've always been close with my cousin because we grew up on the same street and we still talk regularly now. Due to certain global issues, not a lot of my family have seen my daughter, if we're female, in the last couple years. She's not keen on dressing up, but due to it being an important occasion, I wanted her to dress nicely. She agreed as long as she could match with me and her daddy. We decided on seafoam green jumpsuits and my husband even got a matching tie. At the wedding, my mom and some other family members wanted to take pictures of us together. This was before the ceremony and we weren't the only ones taking photos either. It was a lovely wedding ceremony. At the reception, people commented on our outfits, but I didn't think anything of it. Days later, my cousin called me and said that his wife was upset with my behavior at the wedding. She thinks we matched outfits to take attention away from her, but she looked like she just stepped out of a magazine, so I'm confused. Am I the asshole for not wanting to support my boyfriend's early retirement? My boyfriend just paid off his mortgage and now wants to take early retirement on 8K pounds per year. The only way he can afford to do this would be for me to move in with him and work full-time so that the bills can be paid and he can do what he wants in his spare time. I am 50 and my own pension fund is not great, so I don't expect to be able to retire for the next 20 years. Am I being unreasonable in not wanting to uproot my life and that of my sons and wanting to pursue my own career on my own terms? I'm planning on going traveling while working once my son leaves home and saving as much as possible, not supporting my boyfriend who has never supported me. Am I the asshole for putting myself first? Am I the asshole for asking a girlfriend to enter into a formal financial agreement prior to moving in with me? My girlfriend, female 31 of 8 months, asked me, male 36, a week ago how I'd feel about her moving in with me. She'd been dropping hints for the past 2 weeks, so it wasn't out of the blue. I told her I liked that, but I'd feel better if we entered into a formal financial agreement beforehand. She said, "Are you serious?" And I said I was, and she went quiet and said she had to leave before she said anything we both might regret. We were out having dinner at the time. When we spoke on the phone the next day, she said that she felt like I didn't care for her or trust her. I told her that I did, but just felt like the financial agreement would be a sensible thing. We haven't spoken since, as she won't pick up my calls. Am I the asshole for asking a girlfriend to enter into a formal financial agreement prior to moving in with me? A few days ago, I sent her a message saying I'm still happy to talk this through. Her friends and family have made some really negative and hurtful comments with a lot of name-calling. For context, I lost my wife and child in an accident 7 years ago. The only silver lining, if you want to call it that, was the insurance and court case meant I could pay out my mortgage. I also have a well-paying job and live quite comfortably. I only started dating in the past 3 years, and this girlfriend is the first person I've wanted to have a relationship with. Where I live, you can legally be classified as a de facto relationship after 18 months of cohabitation. So if we broke up after 18 months, she might have some claim to my finances. Am I the asshole for my response when my coworker called my husband useless? I, female 36, work at a company, and recently we had a new employee join our department, Pam. Pam was friendly, and we started talking about our typical day-to-day routine. On my turn, I answered saying that I wake up at 6 a.m., clean up, make breakfast, get the kids ready, take them to school, pick them up after work, then do the chores. Pam interrupted me saying, "Wow, so your husband is one of those useless, overgrown man-children that women try to parent along with their children?" Everyone was like, I was taken aback, but said, actually, my husband is severely disabled. He can't work or do chores or childcare. She made a face and replied, oh, well, my point still stands that you're basically living as a single mother. I had the asshole for my response when my coworker called my husband useless. She said, at least he's not entirely useless in the case that he does bring something to the table, which is Social Security disability benefits, I suppose. But I'm sure it doesn't make up for him being an absent father and husband due to his disability. I got extremely offended. The ladies were like, oh my God. I said I didn't appreciate how she spoke about my husband, and she shrugged, saying, well, I technically wasn't lying, right? With people like your husband, there's no point of being married. If you're acting like a single mom, might as well be one or go look for a real-life partner. I lashed out asking what the hell she was talking about and explained the important role my husband still has in mine and my children's life. I called her rude and disrespectful for how she was talking about him. I had the asshole for my response when my coworker called my husband useless. I said her remarks about my husband could be nothing more than projection on her part. She laughed and said, huh? My husband is a doctor. That much is enough. Need I say more? I asked if her husband cooks and cleans after he gets home. Then looked at her eyes and said, the tiredness in your eyes suggests that all the housework and childcare falls on you alone, correct? She was red in the face and got quiet, looked around, got up, and excused herself to the toilet looking upset. The lady said that Pam has her own beliefs about disabled partners, which should be understandable, and she was just giving her honest opinion, but I took it too far. But according to her reaction, the answer was clear to me. They said they want me to apologize, but I won't. Am I that asshole for telling my fiance to get her insecurities in check and grow up after she humiliated my coworker? Recently, I, 25 male, got engaged to my amazing fiance, 24 Amy. I was the happiest I'd ever been when Amy said yes and was nothing but excited for our wedding. When planning, we both agreed to invite our coworkers. As I checked off the list, Amy spoke up and said that everyone can come except for Tally. Tally is one of my closest friends, so this surprised me. She's met her multiple times and there never seemed to be an issue. When I asked why, she said she doesn't like her and finds our relationship uncomfortable. She said she thinks Tally is the type of person to sway taken men and be the center of attention. After more talking to see where she got this idea, it turned out that this was based on nothing but Tally's look. Am I that asshole for telling my fiance to get her insecurities in check and grow up after she humiliated my coworker? Recently, I, 25 male, got engaged to my amazing fiance, 24 Amy. I was the happiest I'd ever been when Amy said yes and was nothing but excited for our wedding. When planning, we both agreed to invite our coworkers. As I checked off the list, Amy spoke up and said that everyone can come except for Tally. Tally is one of my closest friends, so this surprised me. She's met her multiple times and there never seemed to be an issue. When I asked why, she said she doesn't like her and finds our relationship uncomfortable. She said she thinks Tally is the type of person to sway taken men and be the center of attention. After more talking to see where she got this idea, it turned out that this was based on nothing but Tally's looks. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance to get her insecurities in check and grow up after she humiliated my coworker? She said Tally is nice, but she still doesn't want her to come to the wedding and that she makes her insecure. I said that's fine, but I wanted to let her know privately to save embarrassment. Amy said okay. A week ago, I went into work and Tally started ignoring me. Not only that, our coworkers were acting strange to the both of us. I contacted her boyfriend and he let me know that Amy had came to my work on my day off with invitations. She then said to Tally, you aren't invited, women like you aren't welcome. Everyone is suggesting she's my other woman. She's been harassed and shunned at work and is even looking for another job. When confronted, Amy saw no problem. I said, if we're gonna get married, get your insecurities in check and grow up. Am I the asshole for frightening a snooping neighbor by opening my door and causing her to fall? I, 37 female, live in a pet-friendly, no-breed restriction apartment building. It's important to mention I live in a city with a significant crime rate. I live on the 3rd floor and I don't share a landing with any of my neighbors, and anyone coming up to the 3rd floor is coming there for me. We don't have a secure gate or a front door to the building. I have a 40-pound dog, not aggressive in the slightest. Her one guarding tendency is to bark at the door if she hears anyone outside. She's part hunting hound, so she has a big vocal howl bark. This is really comforting because sometimes people will come up to my landing who have no business being there and my dog will actually scare them away. Am I the asshole for frightening a snooping neighbor by opening my door and causing her to fall? Downstairs neighbor, 45 to 50 female, has been on my landing several times. Sometimes she brings mail, but others she's just lurking. She once even moved my mat. I walk my dog, she asks where my other aggressive dog is. Each time I tell her I only have one dog and that she sounds aggressive at the door. Last week, my property manager emailed me about reports that I may have 2 dogs. I wonder where they got that report. Today from the people, I saw her bending in front of my door but couldn't tell what she was doing. I swung it open and my dog was standing beside me loudly barking. She fell on her ass because she was looking at the mat again. I said, see, just one dog like I told you. I offered to help her up, but she called me an a-hole and a b-word and said the building was better before I moved in. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she can't leave our 7-month-old child in the bath unsupervised even for 10 seconds? My girlfriend, 30 female, and I, 30 male, have 2 young kids, 2 years and 7 months. My girlfriend always makes sure they have everything they need, plays with them a lot, is a caring mom, and loves her kids more than anything. But we've been fighting about this situation. She was giving a bath to the youngest in the bathroom while I was in the living room with the oldest. Everything was good until I turned my head and saw her out of the bathroom looking for her cell phone while the youngest was in the bath. I couldn't stop myself from screaming, "What are you doing? The kid is in the bath. You go back to the bathroom and look for your cell phone later." She replied, "OMG, calm down. There's only 1.5 inches of water in the bath, plus I only took 10 seconds to go and grab my cell phone." She went back to the bathroom with the cell phone in her hands. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she can't leave our 7-month-old child in the bath unsupervised even for 10 seconds? When she came back in the living room, I told her she can't do those kind of things. I said it was highly irresponsible and that she could have waited given that there were no emergencies. I told her clearly I never want it to happen again. She said that I was overreacting, it was only 10 seconds and there was only 1.5 inches of water. Next day I asked if she had time to think about what happened. She was super defensive. She told me that I was still overreacting. She deviated the subject and told me how sometimes I forget to close the stair gate and how that could be dangerous for the kids. I told her that forgetting to close the stair gate was also very dangerous, but it was a mistake I don't want to make again, unlike the bath scene where she'll 100% do that again. Am I the asshole for not delaying my wedding because my sister's going through a terrible divorce? My sister Rachel is separating from her husband Mark. Somebody anonymously sent Mark a letter in the mail claiming that their 3 kids weren't his. Mark took a paternity test because the letter was so detailed he had a feeling it might be true. The results came back and he wasn't the father. He now wants nothing to do with my sister or my nieces and nephew, ages 1, 3, and 4. It's been hard on her and everyone is shaken. The problem is I'm getting married soon. The wedding is set for October and everyone's excited but Rachel. She told me to change the wedding date so she can heal from her trauma. I told her no and she burst into tears claiming I wasn't being supportive and she wasn't coming. My fiance's family have all booked time off to come to the wedding and she thinks I'm choosing his family over her. The asshole for dancing half naked in my living room leading to my boyfriend and his family seeing me. I, 21 female, was told by my boyfriend Nate, 26 male, that I get the house to myself for the weekend. He said he had to go visit his parents to take care of a property-related issue. I was excited to have the house to myself because I've been living with him since I was 19 and miss living alone, though Nate is the love of my life and in no way trouble to live with. I had this tradition of spending a lot of my weekends baking in my laundry with music and dancing. Super embarrassing to admit, but I also do silly things like pretending I'm a Victoria's model or a singer and I sing loudly. I mention this because my house is usually a mess. My dresses are all over and the music's super loud, which is obviously not okay. I haven't in a while because Nate hates loud music. Am I the asshole for dancing half naked in my living room leading to my boyfriend and his family seeing me? So it's Sunday and I put on What a Feeling by One Direction and it's super loud. I'm also wearing super lacy lingerie. My boyfriend used his key to open the door and I didn't hear him because of the loud music. Apparently he wanted to surprise me. Nate brought his mom, dad, and his 2 sisters' kids. They come in and there I am frozen in a dance pose like an idiot. I ran in our room yelling, "Sorry, I wasn't expecting anyone." Nate was so angry. He said I was acting like a child and that I embarrassed him. His parents refused to stay and his mom called me a lot of names and said the kids had seen everything and that made me guilty. Nate's still not talking to me and I don't know how to face his family and I know his sister told him to make me behave. Am I the asshole for telling my sister that the adoptive parents have a point for no longer contacting her? My sister gave birth to her twins, boy and girl, in June of 2020. She had been living with me before then after being evicted. I have 3 kids and work full-time and I told her that if she was going to keep her baby, she was going to have to find other living spaces. I have a 2-bedroom and it's cramped already and I'm not sacrificing my room to share with her 2 newborns. She said okay. When she was 6 months pregnant, she said she was going to give her baby up for adoption and contacted this top agency. They sent her a pamphlet of potential parents and I was shocked since she never brought up giving them up for adoption. I felt guilty and told her if she got a job and paid me $400 a month, maybe we could find a 3-bedroom. Am I the asshole for telling my sister the adoptive parents have a point for no longer contacting her? She said she didn't want to be a mom and her mind was made up. She chose a very wealthy couple for her baby that both made 6 figures. I said they looked stuck up and she said she wanted her twins to have an upper-class lifestyle. They flew her to their city in a 5-star hotel for the rest of her pregnancy. It was supposed to be an open adoption and when my sister came back, they sent pictures once a month. When they were 6 months, they ghosted my sister, deleted their social media, and moved. My sister had a breakdown and I was shocked. The agency said they had the rights and not to call back unless she was pregnant. I pitied her until she got drunk and told me that she texted the mom for $2,000 because she wanted to go to school. When she told her she was uncomfortable, she said $2,000 is what they spend in a day.
Mistakes that you find your way. It's in the morning.
Am I the asshole for replying absolutely effing not when I was asked to consider being an organ donor? I, 25 female, moved back in with my mother during the pandemic to help her with something. I'm in the process of finding my own place now that she's better, but still live with her right now. I must emphasize that I didn't move in because of financial hardship and she needed me more than I needed her. Mom, 56 female, has a friend, Mel, 45 female, with a chronic disease. Mel and I have never got along. Not since the first time we met when she showed up to my mom's house dating a man half her age and I asked if he was her son. She forced my mom to make me apologize to her in public. Mel is a deeply insecure woman who pretty much has no other friends other than my mother. Additionally, Mel is always bugging my mom to throw her parties. Am I the asshole for replying absolutely effing not when I was asked to consider being an organ donor? I don't like Mel and I avoid her. I did when I was younger and I still do as an adult. Now that I live with my mom again, the only times I really hear about Mel is when my mom's done talking to her over the phone and then subsequently whines to me about how draining it is to listen to her problems. So it was a surprise to me when I came home from a day out to find Mel in my mom's house sobbing. My mom told me that Mel's chronic disease had progressed to the point where she may need new organs. I get it, that's rough. I understand why she wants my mom's support. But Mel asked me to get tested to see if I could donate an organ to her. I loudly responded, absolutely effing not. Mom yelled at me, Mel started crying, and I left. Mom insists I apologize. Am I the asshole for admitting my pregnancy at a baby's funeral? I, 32 female, am now 8 weeks pregnant with my third child. 2 weeks ago, my sister, 34 female, went into labor at 30 weeks and her little boy unfortunately didn't make it. It was understandably really traumatic and she's been inconsolable, especially because of the fact that it took her 4 years to conceive. A couple days later, I found out that I was pregnant at 6 weeks and 3 days. I figured it was best not to tell her as it was too soon and it would put salt in the already gaping wound. My family does know that we were trying. My morning sickness was getting really bad, but I never considered canceling as I needed to support my sister. The service did go according to plan, but problems started happening at the wake. Am I the asshole for admitting my pregnancy at a baby's funeral? My excuse for not drinking was easy as I'm teetotal, but it got difficult when my nausea hit. I excused myself to the bathroom and threw up. My brother's wife, who is one of my best friends, followed me up and she straight up said, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" I responded yes, but don't tell anyone because today's about making my sis and brother-in-law comfortable. She congratulated me and said she understood. Unbeknownst to me, my brother-in-law's teenage sister overheard and spread the news. My sister confronted me crying and asked if it was true. I said yes, but I didn't mean for her to find out like this. She screamed that I could conceive easier than a freaking rabbit and that I was flaunting my pregnancy while she suffered. Everyone thinks I'm the asshole except for my husband and sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law is refusing to look at me.